Yo, what is good, everyone, and welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and I'm here to break down the DraftKings Monday Night Showdown slate between the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. Got some prize picks for you here today, and we're going to dive into that spreadsheet. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to the Mayo Media Network. Don't want to miss out on any of the content that they're posting. They got football content coming out Monday through Sunday. Certainly don't want to miss out on any of that. And they're tackling multiple sports on top of that as well. So content is coming out all the time. And for you podcast people, head on over to the Apple Pods as well. You can find the content there and leave a 5-star review while you're at it. Now, I do want to kick off the video here today with a couple of prize picks for this Monday night showdown slate. For those of you who are not familiar with prize picks, head on over to their website, PrizePicks.com. If you haven't signed up yet, you can use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. You don't have to put $100 in either. You want to put in 50, they'll match that. You want to put in 20, they'll match that as well. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to play a single contest to get that match deposit. As soon as you put your money in, Prize Picks will match that. Again, it's completely free money. Just use code MMN upon sign up. Now, I'm over on the PrizePicks.com website now. As you can see, a number of different sports that we can play here. They got the NFL second half, just an NFL main slate, first half, defense, futures, all types of different things that you can put your money on. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on the Monday Night Football slate here. So let's scroll down towards the bottom. And I got two different picks that I like for you guys here. And they're relatively the same. I'm going to go with the top two wide receivers for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm taking a look at these numbers here and wondering why they're so damn low. Both these guys coming in below 40 yards. So the first one there is going to be Henry Ruggs, over 34.5 receiving yards. This guy legit could hit the over here with one simple play. We know that burst of speed that he has. He can catch the deep ball. We saw it a few times last year. Obviously, he did kind of struggle throughout his rookie season, but we saw it even more so when he was at Alabama. I think he will take that next step this year. I'm going to talk about it in the spreadsheet, but Gruden does not want this guy to be a slouch. They drafted him over CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, and so they want to get him involved as the number one wide receiver. Yes, Darren Waller is still there, but his prop is a little too heavy. If you look down below here at 70 receiving yards, he by all means could hit the over there as well, but just shocked at how low it is for both of these wide receivers. So I'm going to take the over there for Henry Ruggs. I'm looking on Number Fire. I'm looking at PFF, the projections. PFF has Ruggs here at 52.3 receiving yards, and Number Fire here has him at 58 receiving yards. So I'm going to take the over here for sure. And then the other guy on the other side of the ball there is Bryan Edwards, the number 2 wide receiver in this offense. A lot of hype with this guy here during the preseason. John Gruden loves him, and 38.5 just seems a bit too low as well. I don't know if he's going to have that one play ability like Ruggs does to hit the over here, but assuming he can see 5 targets in this game or even more, he should be able to hit the over. Again, taking a look here on Number Fire and PFF. PFF has him at 46.5 receiving yards, and Number Fire here has him at 45.59. So again, both these websites really like where these guys are at. Like I said, I was just shocked that it was below 40 yards, so I'm going to take the over on both of these guys here. And you can approach this two different ways, and the nice thing is PrizePicks is now allowing same-game parlays, so you can just play this one game if you want to. Now, you can approach this from a flex play perspective or power play perspective. If I'm going with 2 picks, I typically just go the power play route, but the flex play, you do get a little more room for error, and you can pick up to 5 picks if you wanted to here as well. For example, let's just pick a few extra guys here. I am not advocating for these ones. We'll just hammer the over on those. Taking the under is never fun. But in any case, there you can see we got 5 total, and that is going to be the payouts as well. If you go 5 for 5, you get 10x. So you want to put $100 on this, it's a $1,000 payout. Now again, if you use that code MMN upon sign up, you get up to a $100 match deposit, completely free money. Maybe you do that here on Monday night, or you maybe play it a little more conservatively, go with $10 there. $100 payout is still pretty nice as well. But the 2 picks that I like, just to recap here, Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards. I'm going to take the over for both of those guys. Again, just shocked that it was below 40 yards. Take the flex play, take the power play, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you use that code MMN upon sign up. But all right, folks, let's dive into this spreadsheet here now and break down my favorite captain plays and flex plays for this Monday Night Showdown. So diving into the spreadsheet here, as always, going to go over the Vegas odds first. Take a look here in the top left-hand corner. Ravens sitting really nice at minus 235 on the money line on the road against the Raiders here, who are at plus 190. And then we got an over-under there of 50 points as well. Based off of that, looks like there's some shootout potential in this game here. And then right below that, we have some showdown stats from 2020 as well. 6 quick stats that I want to go through here quickly that I felt were relevant to share when it comes to building your showdown lineups. So let me move my head out of the way here. Going to go through these pretty quickly. Like I said, stat number 1, 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least one quarterback. And of the top 1% lineups from last year, 96% of them had at least one QB as well. Number 2, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain. And of the top 1% lineups, 31.4% had a wide receiver there as well. And that led all positions when it came to captain production. Number 3, 57% of the top 1% lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win, so in this case, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, run it back. An opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of winning lineups that rostered a QB, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team at captain. Number 5, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. Very rarely does that work out. Only 1.1% of the time in the top 1% lineups last year. And number 6, which you probably can't see there because my fat head is in the way, don't play more than 2 kickers or defense in the same lineup. Usually one is fine. You see, I don't have the defenses listed here. They're both a bit too suspect for me in week 1. I guess if I had to just pick one, it would be the Ravens, considering they're heavy favorites there at minus 235 on the money line. But with Marcus Peters going down last week with an ACL tear, it's certainly going to make them weaker on the back end. I just don't know if I want to go there, especially with an over-under of 50 points. But I do like both the kickers, Justin Tucker and Daniel Carlson. I'll highlight both of them as a flex play here today. But again, number 6 there, don't play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. That usually doesn't work out for many people. But all right, let's dive into my favorite plays here. As always, going to kick it off with the captains. For those of you who are new to this video, I always list out a captain from both sides of this game. It doesn't matter if the Ravens are minus 2,000 on the money line, I'm still going to highlight someone from the Raiders. So do that going forward. Just keep that in mind. We're going to kick it off here with Lamar Jackson, though, who's probably going to be a very, very chalky play. Probably the most popular play here on this Monday Night Showdown slate. I understand that, but if you don't play Lamar, you might just get burned as well. So if you're looking to go major contrarian in the Millie Maker, maybe one way to do that is fading Lamar. I just don't have the stones to do that because this guy could realistically put up 30, 40 DraftKings points. And if he does that here on Monday night, it will end up burning you. Now, the biggest thing for me here, I like Lamar no matter what, but they lost their top 3 running backs to knee injuries during the preseason. Just awful scenario for those guys. They do have Tyson Williams, who's supposed to be the number 1 running back for the Ravens on Monday night. They signed Latavius Murray, got Lev Bell, Devontae Freeman. Just funny even saying that all 3 of those guys are on the same team now. But how much can we really trust Williams here on Monday night? I mean, he was the number 4 running back on the depth chart before those other 3 guys got injured. I mean, how good is he really going to be? I know there's a lot of hype out there as well. He could be a chalky play on Monday night, and if that's the case, I definitely don't want to touch him in my lineups. People are saying, oh, he could be this year's James Robinson. I'm not buying it. Look, you don't sign Latavius, Lev Bell, and Devontae Freeman, or at least put him on your practice squad if this guy's legit. So I'm not going to go there. I don't have any of the running backs listed in the spreadsheet here for the Ravens. I think once they get down to the red zone and the goal line, it's going to be the Lamar Jackson show. If he's not throwing the ball, he's probably running it himself, which is why, even though he's going to be chalky, I'm okay with going with him in my captain spot. Now, if you do want to get a little more contrarian at the captain spot, I believe that Henry Ruggs offers that. Darren Waller is by far going to be the most chalky play for the Raiders. So yeah, you could put him in the captain spot if you wanted to, but I think Ruggs offers some nice upside. It's only a second year, and I understand he didn't have a great rookie season, but he does have that game-breaking ability, right? We saw it a bunch with him at Alabama. We saw it a couple times last year as well. He caught a couple deep balls, scored 2 touchdowns, and so the upside is definitely definitely there. Realistically, it only takes him to get 4 catches, 100 yards, and score a couple touchdowns to really meet value, especially at that price tag in the captain spot. So he is listed as the number 1 wide receiver this year. John Gruden wants this guy to shine because they drafted him above Judy and CD Lamb last year. So they want to prove that, hey, Ruggs is definitely a game breaker, which is why I kind of like him here. And again, we had Marcus Peters go down with that injury last week. I can imagine that Peters probably would have saw a lot of Henry Ruggs in this game. Yes, Marlon Humphrey is definitely still there, and he's a solid cornerback. I don't believe he's going to shadow Ruggs in this matchup, though. The priority is definitely stopping Darren Waller. So again, kind of going with that game-breaking ability here with Ruggs. Certainly has the capability to do that. If it turns into a shootout, all the better putting him in your captain spot. Now moving on down here to my favorite flex plays, just name drop Darren Waller. Like I said, he's going to be the most popular play for the Raiders in this game, but I still like him. He's got a great matchup here against Chuck Clark, their safety for the Baltimore Ravens. He's got a 25% matchup advantage per PFF, and honestly, Darren Waller probably has an advantage against most linebackers and safeties in the NFL. He's a top-tier tight end, right up there with George Kittle and Travis Kelce. I'd put him at number 3 of those 3, but man, is this guy talented, and a great story behind him as well. I'm not going to get into that, but I really root for this guy, and he's just, shown the talent that he has here over the past couple of years. So even though he's going to be chalky, I don't mind putting him in a flex spot, and you can definitely go there in the captain spot as well. And that is quarterback Derek Carr. I really like him in this situation as well. You could even put Carr in the captain spot if you wanted to. He's got quite a few weapons to throw the ball around to this year. Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow in the slot. So maybe it's one of those games where Carr does go for 300 yards, throws 3 touchdowns, and kind of spreads the love out a little bit. The Raiders' O-line does have a 25% matchup advantage against the Ravens' defensive line as well, so it looks like Carr should have time to throw the ball in the pocket. The next pick I got here then is Marquise Hollywood Brown. Is this going to be the year that he breaks out? We saw signs of it during his rookie year, but then last year he had that sophomore slump. I'm hoping he can rebound this year, but just like Henry Ruggs, he has that game-breaking ability. Like him at this price tag here, $7,600, he can really score a touchdown at any point in this game. And again, the running back situation for the Ravens is very sketchy right now. If Lamar's not running the ball, he's probably trying to throw it 30, 40 plus times in this game. Not the ideal scenario for the Ravens. I guess there are a lot of question marks in how they're going to run this offense now that the running backs have been so beat up, or 3 of them tore their damn ACL. But Marquise Brown, again, what it comes down to for me is that game-breaking ability. We saw it week 1 of his rookie year against the Miami Dolphins. It doesn't take much for him to have a big game. So I'm hoping he can bounce back from that sophomore slump. If you go with Lamar Jackson as a captain, you're probably going to want to pair him up with a couple of pass catchers. You notice I didn't list Mark Andrews in here. That doesn't mean that I don't like Mark Andrews. I just don't necessarily love the situation here. I'll talk about that here in just a second. But to wrap up Marquise Brown, again, it's a subpar secondary for the Raiders. He's got that game-breaking ability, and it makes sense to stack him up with Lamar Jackson. All right, so I can't leave you with a cliffhanger there. The reason I don't have Mark Andrews listed in this spreadsheet is because I just don't love the matchup against KJ Wright. PFF is actually giving Andrews a -3% advantage, or a 3% advantage to KJ Wright in this matchup, if you will. And I think Mark Andrews is going to be one of the most popular plays on this slate here. So considering that, I kind of pivoted away from Andrews and went with the wide receivers here, Marquise Brown and Sammy Watkins, to stack up with Lamar Jackson. But again, I no hate towards Mark Andrews. I'm going to roster him plenty this year. I just didn't love the scenario that he was in, especially considering he's probably going to be very chalky on Monday night. We then got Kenyon Drake there. I did opt to go with him over Josh Jacobs, just due to the game script narrative here that I'm kind of foreseeing. The Baltimore Ravens are at -235. Should be playing with a lead, and if that's the case, then the Raiders are going to want to throw a little bit more, and Kenyon Drake is definitely the pass-catching back in this offense. I don't know what we're going to see when it comes to carries, but they paid this guy solid money, so I have to assume that he's going to touch the ball a little bit on the ground as well. They get down to the goal line, that is going to be Josh Jacobs, so that is the one downside here going with Drake, but definitely has that pass-catching upside. Like I said, I'm kind of rolling with the narrative here that the Raiders are playing from behind, need to play catch-up, and he's going to be the third down guy as well. Like I said, more pass catching upside there, which is great in PPR, especially at that price tag there of $7,200. Then we got the other wide receiver there for the Las Vegas Raiders, Bryan Edwards. This dude has been hyped up all camp long. John Gruden had some wild comparisons for him. I think he compared him to Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and T.O. all at the same time. I don't think we're going to see that from Bryan Edwards in this game here, but at $5,600, he is a big body guy, 6'3", 212 pounds, and I think they want to use him in the red zone. So again, if you go with someone like Derek Carr in the captain spot or just play Derek Carr in the flex, you're probably going to want to pair him up with a pass catcher or two, and Bryan Edwards by all means makes sense, especially at that price tag there. Again, there's a little bit of uncertainty in this secondary. Marlon Humphrey is still a solid cornerback, but no Marcus Peters. Interested to see how those other guys handle the work. Jimmy Smith there as well, but I don't even know if he's starting right now for the Ravens. So Edwards here, for me, it was kind of the size of him, right? Those big guys are always targeted in the red zone. Henry Ruggs is certainly not that guy. Darren Waller is, but if you're the Baltimore Ravens, your game plan this week is probably, how do we shut this guy down? Let him feed Ruggs, let him feed Edwards, let him feed Renfro. We don't care about that as long as we shut down Waller. That is priority number one. So if you want to pivot away from Waller a little bit, I think Bryan Edwards by all means makes sense, especially at that low price tag there of $5,600. Now we all know the story here with this next guy, Sammy Watkins. If he's going to have a blow-up game, it's probably coming within the first few weeks of the NFL season before he ultimately probably gets injured. And I hate to even say it like that, but that has been the case here over the past few years, and he's already been banged up in preseason. I hope he can stay healthy all season, especially considering just the issues and the injuries that they've had on the running back side of things. I think the Ravens are going to throw the ball a little bit more than anybody anticipated this year. Again, Lamar Jackson, obviously a freak when it comes to running the ball, but if you're the Raiders here, you're going, how do we stop Lamar from running? Make him throw the ball. He's still going to get his. Don't worry about that. But Sammy Watkins, I do like him here. Love the matchup against this Raiders secondary. They're just not very good. Yeah, they did bring in Casey Hayward, but he's 32 years old, and I'm just not sold on him much anymore. So I love the matchup. I love the price tag here. And again, we've seen Sammy Watkins have those blow-up games. We saw it with the Chiefs. Maybe that happens here as well, especially considering we might see the Ravens throw the ball more on Monday night. And then we got those two kickers there, Justin Tucker and Daniel Carlson. First, Justin Tucker for the Baltimore Ravens, one of, if not the best kicker in the NFL, average 8.8 DraftKings points in 2020. And look, he's doing that out in Baltimore where the weather's not always that great, especially towards the end of the season. We've seen some really nasty stuff out there. It rains heavy, it snows. Certainly not ideal scenarios if you're a kicker. However, we don't need to worry about that here on Monday. They are playing indoors. This is a guy who can hit from 50 yards out and a guy who has 15-point upside as well. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's going to get that here on Monday night, but that's kind of the ceiling for him, around 15, 16 DraftKings points, which would be phenomenal at $4,000 there. Again, you probably don't want to get too carried away playing too many kickers and defenses in your lineup, but if you think this game maybe is a little lower scoring, you could definitely go with one of these guys as well. Leading into Daniel Carlson, averaged 9.7 DraftKings points last year with upside of 15 DraftKings points as well. Very similar to Tucker in that sense. He made 33 of 35 field goals last year. He was actually drafted by the Minnesota Vikings initially. Mike Zimmer just has a thing with kickers where if you don't shine right away, you're getting cut. We saw that with Daniel Carlson, gets picked up by the Raiders, and he's been great ever since. 33 out of 35 is very good. He can hit from 50 yards out as well. You can see they're 94.3% and hitting field goals last year. So again, I don't want to get too carried away with the kickers and defenses, but at $3,600 here for a guy who averaged damn near 10 DraftKings points per game last year, not bad at all. And then wrapping it up there with Hunter Renfro, another wide receiver for the Raiders. Look, I probably wouldn't have him on my spreadsheet here if he was in the 4K range, even the high 3K range, but at $2,800 here, it was really hard to ignore. He is the number 3 wide receiver playing out of the slot and number 4 pass catcher behind Darren Waller, but this is just way too cheap. It does not take much for him to hit pay dirt. We saw him get double-digit DraftKings points in 4 games last year with a ceiling of around 20 points. If he can get you double digits or even close to 20 DraftKings points, he's going to smash his value. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's going to happen. Obviously, it only happened 4 times last year, but again, it just kind of stuck out to me as, why is this guy so cheap? Maybe there's something that DraftKings knows that I don't know, but he seems healthy. He's clearly the slot receiver in this matchup. We heard rumor during the preseason that he was burning Jalen Ramsey out of the slot. Ramsey doesn't play in the slot. I think they're just trying to make him a shadow cornerback that can play anywhere. But needless needless to say, if you're beating Jalen Ramsey play after play, it is worth noticing. Again, this comes down to how cheap he is here. If he can get you close to 10 DraftKings points, he's going to smash value. Hopefully we can get him at lower ownership. I don't know if we will at this price tag here, but hopefully people go to Waller, Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, and just forget about Hunter Renfrow. In that case, I even want more of them. And that is going to wrap up the video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. I really do appreciate that. Again, make sure you smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Pat and his team are going to have football content coming out all season long, Monday through Sunday. You don't want to miss out on any of that. Again, if you want to sign up for PrizePicks as well, make sure you use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. I hope you had a beautiful Sunday. Let's keep it rolling into Monday as well. I'm out of here.